No CCW.
Well, what's CCW?
Hello out there in internet land. This is episode 17, a bonus episode of Stop the Damn Match. I'm your host, Phil Lamington. Sitting to my left is a man who, he's happy he got to watch his favourite Wrestlemania of all time, yet again. It's JB. JB, how are you, my friend?
Yeah, man. Not a bad way to spend a Saturday evening.
No.
And plus Trish Stratus.
And Leader.
Yeah, nah, Trish. Definitely Trish.
Okay, I'll take Leader, no problem.
You got to see a little bit of Stacey Keebler too.
I did, but mostly Trish.
And Stefani.
Jacqueline.
Look at Jackie.
Jacqueline.
Alright, sitting on to the far right is a man who he was very happy until I started making AEW references. And that's Dr. Seamus. How are you, my friend?
Not too bad. Bit chilly because I'm in front of the aircon, but not bad.
Hang on.
Sounds like a you problem.
Thank you.
No, you don't have that problem.
Excellent.
Right. And then, returning for this episode, because it was his birthday a week ago, and we couldn't think of a better way to celebrate than to stuff a microphone in his face after we rammed a burger down his throat, cookies and cream cheesecake down his throat. Now we're going to stick a microphone in his face and say, start talking, like he's some goddamn marionette. It's the Yellow Devil Shogo. How are you, my friend?
About 5 hours from Townsville later. I'm feeling very tired, but I'm doing all right. And a lot better now than I am last week. Rest in peace, boss, Antonio Inoki.
Yeah,
Yes.
we because we haven't done a pay-per-view since then. Antonio Inoki passed away.
Yeah, on my birthday, of all things. So it's going to be a really sad couple of birthdays from now on.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, boss.
I suppose we should cover a couple of news stories before we get into this pay-per-view. But I mean, we've got we've had this White Rabbit thing in WWE. I don't know how much you guys have been following it, but it's really intrigued me.
I work 2 jobs, man. I haven't really been following it.
Definitely would recommend watching Extreme Rules because that's the latest one with the Purple X. That's what that was.
Well,
Yeah.
for those of us that haven't been filled in, would you care to clue us in, Mr. Phil?
Okay, so what started was at live events and on commercial breaks on Raw and SmackDown, they would play a song called White Rabbit by Jefferson Airplane in the arena. And it's all about Alice in Wonderland, but like a fucked up version of Alice in Wonderland. And then QR codes started showing up like in the background of people cutting promos, or someone in the crowd would walk along with a sign with a QR code, or it would be like slapped right in the middle of the commentary table desk so that you could scan it, and it would take you to a website that, I think the first one was a video of where it says feed your head, which is a line from the song, but it's also a Alice in Wonderland reference.
It was the Hangman one first.
Yeah. So you clicked on that, and this white rabbit would go down the hole, and it would come up on the screen with like a game of Hangman. And at the top, it would ask the question, who killed the world? And the rabbit would try and guess it. The answer was, you did. But the first 5 letters the rabbit typed out was demon. Demon, X, and then letters that filled in, you did. And it came up with a timer with a rabbit on each side, but like the first side, it would be on the right, and the writing would be blue. And it would say 9:23. And then the rabbit would go to the other side, and the writing would be white. And it would still say 9:23, but instead of having a semicolon or a colon for time, it would just be a full stop for date. Which, at the time, 9:23 or September 23rd was the SmackDown that week. And at 9:23 during that SmackDown episode, they put up another code, which was it led you to a game where you played as the White Rabbit entering like a maze, but it looked like it was someone's head. And at the middle of the maze was a red door. You had to avoid the fire and go into the red door. And depending what you got, you either got an answer that said coal, C-O-A-L, or patricide. Patricide means to kill one's father. But it also gave you nautical coordinates for where Raw was going to be the next week. So again, they put up another QR code which led to a video, and it was a really fucking weird video of the Three Little Pigs. And like they're flashing images from the animated Three Little Pigs movie. But between each shot, they would put up a photo of a real pig's carcass. And then eventually they had the Big Bad Wolf, and it would flash between the animated Big Bad Wolf and someone dressed up as a Big Bad Wolf in real life. It was all really fucked up. Then, SmackDown a week ago was at Raw. It was one of them. They put up another...
SmackDown.
Yeah, they put up another QR code that led to a photo of... it was a painting of Samson and Delilah, where one of them had Delilah cutting Samson's hair, but the other photo had Samson pushing over columns with his incredible strength. But also at the bottom, it had "Feed Your Head" written in Predator language. Yeah, the Predator from the movie has got the language. It's all yeah. Someone translated it, and it comes to "Feed Your Head." And if you break down the QR code, each one actually has a secret message in there. One of them says, "I need Ovaltine," which is a reference to another movie that's tied to Alice in Wonderland. It's all very elaborate. And then today they put up more really weird stuff. But eventually WWE actually put up a video during programming at the end of the Extreme Rules promotional trailer, where it was the rabbit running through the forest, and it comes across a purple X, which is the symbol for Extreme Rules. It digs in, jumps in the hole, and out comes this 8-bit graphic flame comes out of the hole, and then like smoke comes out of it, and you hear the sound of pigs squealing. And it comes up that the "Feed Your Head," but in about 5 different languages, including English at the end. And it'll be solved tomorrow night. But the G in night has been replaced with a 6. It's all pointing towards the return of Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt's Twitter handle at the moment is Wyatt6. So it's been a really clever way. Like, we all knew it's Bray Wyatt from the kickoff, but it's been a really clever way of actually marketing, bringing someone back.
Yeah, it reminds me of Jericho's Crack the Code. That kind of elaborate style of return.
But the difference between this and the Crack the Code one is that this is a bit more advanced.
Yeah, this is more a step further.
The Crack the Code one, when they started putting up saying y equals x plus 1, and you're kind of like, oh, well, it's Y2J.
Mm.
Yeah, that it was kind of like earlier this year when Edge was coming back after he
that one was super fucking obvious.
Yeah, and it kind of shows that Triple H has a bit of a respect for the wrestling fan. That he understands that it's not just pummel you over the head with the obvious.
Well, that, and I think he's giving Bray freedom to do his thing, which we know that he's good at this kind of shit because, Vince gave him a little bit of freedom. Look what he did with it, and then Vince took it away.
Yeah.
I just hope they don't botch it like they did with Y2J when he came out, said absolutely nothing, and then just, buggered off.
That was Jericho's idea, though.
Yeah, well, he sucked at it.
But
He made you mad, though, Shago.
yeah.
He made you mad like a heel's supposed to make you mad. So he did his job.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's a difference between, making me mad by sucking at something and making me mad by doing a really good job at something, i.e. right to censor.
So he did both. He made you mad by doing nothing, and that makes you more mad.
But it's going to be interesting at Extreme Rules tomorrow. But we're not going to be able to watch it tomorrow. We're going to have to wait until Monday. So it might be an idea to stay off social media.
Yes.
But the other big story that's going on is Andrade and Sammy Guevara. Wow. And the thing is, Sammy Guevara's initial tweet wasn't aimed at him at all.
Yeah, that's the stupid thing about it.
It just looks like Andrade's just looking for a reason to try and get released so he can go back to WWE.
Yeah, and Tony Khan already said to Andrade, even if you start shit, I'm not going to release you from your contract.
It's all these guys, like Malachi Black, he said that he isn't released from AEW, he's just taking a break. Buddy Matthews has asked for time off.
And Buddy himself said that, sorry to cut you off, Buddy himself said that, he wants to come back to AEW, he's not going to go back to WWE.
But, like, Bobby Fish apparently approached Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly and said, look, my contract's up, I'm leaving. We should all leave together and go back to WWE. And the other two were like, no, we still got valid contracts, brother. Yeah, I know it's Triple H has taken over and everyone wants to be back over there because he did good by everyone. But, guys, you got to honour your contracts, mate. You're getting paid to be there. You left, you went over there. Don't disrespect the company, despite you might not be getting the push that you feel like you deserve. But Tony Khan has also got to stop signing everyone and their dog too.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. There's only so many people that can hog the spotlight at once, no matter where you are.
I mean, I can see why he's doing it. He's doing it because it gets people watching his program, and it fucking does. I mean, look, it's a bad example at the moment, but look at CM Punk when he signed him. That got so many eyes on his program.
It did.
But obviously now they're feeling the repercussions of doing such a thing.
The problem that Tony Khan has now is the same problem that...
WCW?
Yeah, it was the same problem that Eric Bischoff was doing in WCW, which was... It's great having... Lex Luger show up a day after his contract with WWF has ended. And getting the Macho Man, and getting Hulk Hogan, and getting this, and getting that, and then getting Scott Hall, and Kevin Nash, and then Brett. CM Punk is a very similar case to WCW signing Bret Hart. It's all right signing all these talent, but if you don't know what you're doing with them, and you're letting them just sit there and go... Well, it was great on paper, But I also think that Tony Khan's letting the inmates run the asylum a bit too much. I think he's got to tighten up the reins a little bit. Meaning, I don't think that Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks should be EVPs, like in charge of. You've got to have someone that runs the asylum.
Or if you're going to have them be EVPs, at least have them, throw their power a bit and be able to keep people in line. Because that's kind of the whole thing, is to keep people in line.
I think that everyone...
Especially with the competitors.
I think everyone in the locker room needs to sit down and have JR give them all a ripe old bollocking. I mean, even this Sammy Guevara... Like, Sammy Guevara has been in 2 backstage fucking arguments. Eddie Kingston and now Andrade. I mean, apparently it turned into a punch-up backstage.
Yeah, Andrade punched him. Sammy didn't even throw the... Andrade, with his Twitter responses to him, already wanted to go in there for a fight. Sammy was just walking along. Andrade's come up behind him, spun around, and fucking punched him in the mouth.
You know, he's got to get some control back from the inmates because he's just letting the inmates run the asylum.
That's it. And it's a bad look for someone trying to be a presence or a competitor. You know, I mean, you can't even run your own backstage. How are you going to run it like the second biggest wrestling company on the planet if you can't even control your talent?
Particularly when
What the fuck are you doing?
Particularly when you're going against a resurgent WWE. Now that it's got Triple H in charge, people are starting to tune in again because it's not the same old shit.
If AEW thought it was hard going up against Vinnie Mac's stale fucking product, they got no fucking chance against Triple H.
Yeah.
None.
Right. So moving on from there, we're going to talk about we watched a retro pay-per-view for Shogo's birthday, and we put it to a vote on our private event thing, and came up with WWF Wrestlemania X7, or as it says on the network, Wrestlemania 17, from Houston, Texas, on April 1st, 2001.
Yeah.
What do you mean come to a vote? I'm the only person that voted.
There was no need to vote on it. It's literally the greatest pay-per-view of all time.
This is very true.
No.
This time, I'm going to let it all come out. This time, I'm going to stand up and shout.
See, I really wanted to pick like a really crappy WCW pay-per-view.
We could have picked, like, yeah. We could have picked, like, the worst. We
Oh.
could have watched, like, WrestleMania, like, 3 or some shit.
Oh, we could have done we could have done an Inoki memorial.
Well, I didn't realize he was going to die this weekend, mate.
Yeah, well, neither did I, and it was last weekend, not this weekend.
Yeah, well, you know, it's Japanese time.
Problem is, okay, here's an idea. Here's an idea for one. For the next retro pay-per-view we do, whenever that is, every time we see a botch, we have to drink. Or have shots lined up, and every time we see a botch, we have to take a shot.
Yes.
There you
Yeah,
go.
let's watch, like, a...
Please,
let's
please,
make-
no,
let's
CC,
watch-
no CCW.
We'll watch CCW, or we'll watch,
Fuck.
like, AAA wrestling or some shit.
I'll see you and I'll raise you. TNA Victory Road.
Oh, for fuck's sake. No.
Be hammered 3 matches in.
Yeah.
Does
It's
that
like,
mean
it's like doing a drinking game while watching the Smurfs. Every time they say the word Smurf, you have to have a shot.
Does that mean
Yeah,
for the hardy
You'll
You'll be
fucking...
dead by the first commercial break from alcohol poisoning.
Flatlined.
But for that one, we have to live stream the whole thing.
Oh, God. I don't want my face on the internet.
No, not phase, just live
Why do
streaming
you think we
the table.
just do the audio and I put photos up on these things? Because I don't want to be seen.
because we'll break the camera.
You might, I won't. I'm pretty.
Well, put your face up on the internet.
No,
then.
I don't want to share it with everyone. It's for me and my girlfriend.
Just have a webcam pointed directly at the table with all the shots so I can see every time you take a shot.
True, well, we've got the camera set up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Nah, I'm going back to Townsville. Screw you guys.
All right, so the first thing I noted about this pay-per-view was that how good is JR and Paul Heyman on commentary? Like,
Fantastic.
sure, at the time, like, I missed Jerry the King Lawler being with JR. But Paul Heyman was a different kettle of fish. Like, he was just antagonizing JR to get more emotion out of him.
Still one of the best heel commentators of all time.
Yeah. But it was such an interesting combo. And they still got the talent over.
Yeah.
That's the key thing that people seem to forget with commentary is you've got to get the talent over. And it's not heavily prevalent in today's wrestling is the commentators getting the talent over. But these two absolutely nailed it from go to woe.
Yeah. Professional.
Right, so the opening match was for the Intercontinental Championship, when the Intercontinental Championship belt looked like the Intercontinental Championship belt. The champion Chris Jericho defended against William Regal. I gotta say, they didn't have the greatest chemistry in the ring,
No, they didn't.
and it was a pretty boring match. Like, I So that's pretty much all the notes I've got. Besides Jericho hit the lion salt and got the win via pinfall.
That no one was ready for.
Yeah.
It was like a 3 count, and then the crowd like waited 5 seconds and like, oh, it's over.
Oh, yeah.
Oh shit, he won. They were waiting for the Walls of Jericho tap out that never came.
Yeah.
Was there even a submission hold?
Yeah,
Yeah.
there was a Regal stretch and Walls of Jericho.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it wasn't, wasn't those like super dramatic ones.
Well, what are your thoughts on the match, JB?
Yeah, 3 out of 5.
Yeah?
Or 2.5 out of 5. It was pretty flat.
Yeah.
It's pretty flat. I mean, considering like the match ended and then it took 5 seconds for anyone to realize the match had ended, probably tells you what sort of match it was. Both of them are professional. Both of them are relatively good in the ring, but just together they just didn't really work that well. But, it was cool to see Jericho come away with the victory.
How about you, Shay? What do you reckon?
I give it a 3. It was a very average match, which is unfortunate considering the 2 people that were in the ring. This was a bit earlier on in both their careers, though. There was nothing really super interesting that kind of hit you in the face. There was no lion salt here, submission here, submission there. It was really nothing special.
Shogo?
We'll give it a 3. Having said that, while it was nothing special, having said that, it was a shitload better than some of the matches you see nowadays. And that is, pretty much all I have to say about it.
I'm going to seem like an absolute savage here. I gave it 1.5.
Wasn't that bad.
Now,
I just thought it was just...
It was flat, but it wasn't bad.
yeah, I'm agreeing with Johnny here, man.
You're giving it botch scores.
It's-
You're giving it like
Almost.
you're giving it like fucking Sasha Banks, fucking Bianca Belair. Bad
yeah,
scores.
like, it was just such a...
It was a flat match, but it wasn't a bad match.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we gave Omos versus Lashley a better score than that. And
No.
I gave it 5. You guys are talking about. It
Yeah,
Technical
you gave it 5. I
masterpiece.
gave it a negative score.
was technical brilliance. You guys just
All right, I'll bump it up to a 2.
I'm gonna go back to Townsville.
You're going to say that for everything, aren't you?
Well, yes. But this time, I'm probably going to drive off the road on the way.
Don't drive off the road on the way.
Who else are we going to do these with?
Yeah.
Exactly.
God, think about us for once.
We gave you
God's
cake,
sake.
you
You
motherfucker.
selfish
I gave him cake.
And burgers.
Yeah.
What more could you possibly want?
I know.
Exactly.
Right.
And tinnies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And WrestleMania X7.
X7.
Yeah.
Like
It's
the
got an X in its
That,
name.
yeah, that geezer.
X gonna give it to you.
He's gone now too.
Mm.
Right, next match was Right to Censor, which was Val Venus, the Good
Greatest
Father.
entrance music of all time.
Val Venus, the Good Father, and Bull Buchanan versus Taz and the APA, which was Bradshaw and Farouk. So on my notes here, I'll read this verbatim, okay, so we'll hammer the joke home. Taz botches. ... running. He really had an issue with putting one foot in front of the other at a rapid rate.
He cannot run.
His
He's
running
not-
style reminds me of Mario.
Yeah, but drunk Mario.
I was going to say, at least Mario doesn't fall over.
At least Taz isn't voiced by Chris Pratt.
It'd be funny if he was, though.
Fucking hilarious.
But both teams really hit hard.
It was a physical match.
Mm.
Yeah, it was a really physical match. Eventually, Bradshaw hit the Good Father with the clothesline from hell, and Taz and the APA won the match. Shay, what are you going to give it?
I'll give it a 3.5. It's pretty entertaining. It's better than the previous match, that's for sure. Taz and the APA are always funny, especially the segment that was before this too, with the APA.
Oh, yeah, Bradshaw going off about all his Texas stuff.
Their little backstage office that they had.
Yeah, I miss stuff like that.
Look at Jackie. No, it was really, really good, except for the Right to Censor's music, which was the worst fucking music imaginable. I'd rather hear the censored, the censor noise anytime someone swears on TV.
Yeah.
I'd rather hear that go through the whole entire thing than that fucking siren.
I can arrange that.
No.
All right, so 3.5.
3.5.
Shogo.
I'll probably give it a 3. Interesting thing about this match, they used the most annoying theme songs and, in, what is it, descending order? So you hear the worst theme song of all time, right to Censor. You hear Taz's theme song, which has that annoying beep. Then you hear the APA, which also has that annoying other beep. Am I catching on to a theme here? They chose the wrestlers via their theme song?
No, I just thought it was an interesting match.
Yeah.
I don't think it had...
Yeah.
Yeah, while the match was interesting, I just found it really not as flat as Jericho versus Regal, but it was still not really memorable. There were some interesting spots in it, though, but that's about it.
So flattish like Taz was trying to be when he's running?
Yeah, sure, we'll go with that. Next question.
JB?
Yeah, 3.5.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good physical match and excellent entrance music by all.
Yeah, well, I gave it a 3.5 as well. I thought that it certainly picked up the crowd after the Jericho match. That was part of the reason why I disliked the Jericho match, was even the crowd was just like, eh.
That was Bradshaw as well, being a hometown boy.
Yeah, but it just certainly picked up the pace compared to the previous match. So it felt like a very stark contrast between the two. Right, the next match was for the Hardcore Championship between Raven, The Big Show, and Kane. This match was pure chaos. The cage door at one point, Big Show tried to lock a cage door, and then Kane walks over and just opens it. So
Storage cage.
So the cage door no-sold. Kane put Raven through a glass window. That was a bit of a scary spot.
Unlike the glass in the King of the Ring that angled through, Shane through.
Oh, God.
This one was actually a sugar glass.
Yeah. One was sugar glass and one was real glass, and Raven didn't go through real glass.
Big Show put Kane through a door.
Shockmaster style.
And then Kane and Big Show both did their best Shockmaster impression and fell through a wall. Then there was the golf cart moment, where they could have killed the power to the entire show.
And they could have killed Raven by running him over.
Yeah, but it's Raven. I mean, I don't think Vince McMahon would have...
They were only going to run over his leg, man. They weren't going to kill him.
Hey,
No,
he was already dead inside anyway.
that's why God saw fit to give him a spare.
Wow. And the drugs.
And then all three got put through the side of the stage. And then Kane hit a leg drop on the Big Show, got the pinfall, got the win, and is the new Hardcore Champion. Shogo, what are your thoughts on the match?
I'd give it a 3.5. It was very chaotic, and I had no idea what the hell was going on at some stages, but it was quite entertaining at the same time. I really enjoyed the use of... Oh, man, the weapons were a nice touch, it being a hardcore match and everything, but still, it was nice to actually see some weapons being used. It's... well, put it this way. When was the last time, you saw a hardcore match in recent years? If that makes any sense at all.
AEW had a half-decent one not long ago.
Extreme Rules.
But you don't see a hardcore match like this anymore.
Yeah, not to that level.
Like a
anymore.
backstage type brawl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think at one point you pointed out, Seamus, that the cameraman fell over. Or was that another...
No,
wait,
that was the Austin
That
match.
was the Austin Rock match.
Whatever. Either way, it was really hard to follow them when they were going through the crowd, then backstage. It was really hard to see what the hell was going on. So as chaotic as it was still quite entertaining.
JB?
Yeah, 4 out of 5. Good match.
Yeah.
Yeah, they threw each other off shit, and then Kane jumped off the stage to win the match. They just beat the shit out of each other for 20 minutes. It was great.
simple man. My name's Johnny. I like, spear tackles by Roman Reigns, and John Cena rules.
Yeah. John Cena ruled at one stage, man. Not anymore with his fucking dad hair.
Yeah, as long as they're throwing, people off shit.
I'm a simple man, Sugar.
I'm entertained.
I like beer and titties.
Go
and
both us from
fucking-
Marines.
And dudes beating the shit out of each other.
You like football, meat pies, kangaroos, and Ford cars.
That's right. You didn't end that with Holden Ute, so that's good. Not on Bathurst Eve. You can't be bringing that at me on Bathurst Eve.
Like football, Ford pies, and meat cars.
Damn tootin'. You're darn tootin', my boy.
That hurt my brain to try and say.
Give me my meat car.
Well, we found the intro for the show. All right, Shay.
I'll give
You
it a
shouldn't have said dumb crap, mate, because it comes to you afterwards.
I'll give it a 4. It's still one of my favorite hardcore matches of all time. I can still remember moments from that match, even after not having seen it for fucking ages. Especially the golf cart moment with Kane and the ref.
Well, I gave it 4.5. I was just thoroughly entertained. This was just pure chaos and pure fun. And just, yeah, I loved it. I miss matches like that. It makes the 24/7 seem like an antiquated pile of crap compared to it.
Yep.
Right. Then before we get to the next match, we have possibly the most cringe-worthy segment ever, where they found an Aussie in the crowd.
Oh, God.
Next.
Oh, God, that was so cringe.
Next question.
1 out of 5 would not recommend.
WWF rules.
And
That's
then they
it.
start the Aussie chant. Like, God,
Yeah.
every time they do that, I feel like such a bogan, where I'm just sitting there going, God, I don't want to be associated with this bogan crap.
I'm from Japan. I have no idea what you guys are on about.
Yeah, I know.
Nippon.
Hey.
That's it.
Fast and Furious.
Very, breaky. Bishy.
That's exactly what we were just doing.
Yep. He owes you a 10-second car. Right. The next match was for the European Championship between Test and Eddie Guerrero. I thought they had pretty solid chemistry. At one point, Test got his foot stuck between the top and middle rope, and Eddie Guerrero had to actually help him out of it.
Meanwhile, Perry Saturn was beating the shit out of him.
Yeah.
You mean that wasn't part of the plan?
I don't think it was, because Eddie actually had to lift his foot out of the ropes.
But the commentators covered for it by saying, well, he's realised he can't win the title by leaving him there.
Which is pretty good on the fly
Yeah.
commentating.
Whereas, now they would try everything in their power to cut away from it and hide it and not mention it. Just, we can see it. We're not dumb, One thing I didn't like about this match was I felt there was too much interference. There's too much chicanery in it.
But that being said, it's Eddie. That's kind of his
Yeah.
thing.
But he hadn't gotten to that point yet. He hadn't hit the I lie, I cheat, I steal gimmick yet, because he would still get released later on that year, I think, and then come back as Los Guerreros with Chavo.
Mm.
But Eddie hits Test with the title belt, while Dean Malenko distracts the referee, and Eddie wins via pinfall to become the European champion. I gave this match 3.5 out of 5. I thought it was pretty solid. It would have been a 4 if it wasn't for the interference. Because I just felt like Perry Saturn and Dean Malenko, it was just too much for the match. But other than that, I thought it was a pretty solid match. JB, what do you think?
Yeah, same. 3.5. It took 3 people to beat Test. I don't know if that makes Test look good or makes Eddie look bad, but heel Eddie does what heel Eddie does, and he got the win.
What can I say? It was a test of his fortitude.
That's it. I'm out of here.
He's going back to Townsville. Shay?
I give it a 3 as well. It's a pretty solid match. Nothing awesome, but nothing shit either. I mean, it was awesome seeing Eddie wrestle again. Him and Dean Malenko and Perry.
Yeah.
Everyone in that match you literally don't see anymore.
Yeah, well, Dean Malenko works for AEW, doesn't he?
I think as like a
Backstage
agent. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think.
Perry Saturn's still alive too.
Yes.
Somehow.
Yeah, barely.
Fuck.
I always liked Perry Saturn's work, though. I always thought he was great in the ring.
He was.
He was a very underrated jobber.
I don't think he was a jobber, though. Like
He was a couple times.
yeah.
Did he ever win a title? He would have won a couple, I guess.
He was European champion.
Yeah.
Not major title, though.
And he was ECW Tag Team Champion.
So, what you're saying is, I was right.
Yeah.
Hey, he had Moppy. Moppy was over.
Yeah. There you go.
Hope he was over.
I think he was actually WCW US champion at one point too.
So nothing major.
So nothing major is my
He
point.
was a mid Carter. Yeah.
Yeah, and he was also definitely a jobber, but he was really good at it. Kind of like Al Snow.
But
You need people like those.
but
What
he
does everybody
also,
want?
he also saved a girl from being raped and got shot in the process.
He did.
So he's a hero.
Yeah.
He's a hero jobber.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that girl turned out to be a mop.
It was Linda McMahon in Comatose. Shogo, what are your thoughts on the match?
You did that to yourself.
Yeah. Yep.
There was no mop. -5 stars. No, I'm kidding.
He had the cool hat, though.
He did have the cool hat. I give it a 4.
Yeah. Okay.
I looking back, I really did find a lot of Eddie Guerrero's match very entertaining. He was a really good technical wrestler too, and I don't know why he never, fully got the push that he actually deserved. But I don't know, looking back at matches like these, I'm thinking, God, you guys missed out on a golden opportunity to have this guy as your front man.
He was
He was.
getting the push. Unfortunately, he passed away halfway through the push.
Yeah, he was
Yep.
champion.
Yeah.
Well, to sum up Eddie Guerrero, when he was in WCW, they wouldn't push him because he wasn't Hulk Hogan or someone from WWF.
He wasn't big enough, man.
And then when he
Remember
came to
the NWO.
WWE or WWF, when he first got there, he had a drug addiction, which hurt him. And then he did get his push to the WWE Championship.
He beat Brock.
Yeah. And he was getting another push to, I think he was going to take the belt off Batista. But then he passed away. But he was always seen as never going to be the top guy because he wasn't Vince McMahon's type. He wasn't some steroid junkie built like a brick shithouse with zero personality. He's only got 5 moves. And 3 of them are the spear.
What you're saying is,
hey JB.
what
how
you're
are you?
saying is he's not Goldberg or Roman Reigns. you
Yes.
know, the 2 biggest
Yeah.
drawing stars ever.
What's that about Austin?
Don't know. Pretty close.
What's that about Rock?
Was Austin champion for 2 straight years? It's only been 1 straight year.
No, but Austin was champion, I think, 3 times.
Yeah, right. You don't have to become champion again if you don't lose the belt.
I mean, it's not wrong.
Is what I'm saying.
Right.
Next match.
Right. The next match was Kurt Angle versus Chris Benoit.
Chris who?
Yeah, that
Redacted.
guy. Chris Redacted.
Beep.
Right to censor, where are you?
Now, look, I didn't write many notes for this match. I implore people to go and watch this match. My only note on it was a technical masterclass.
It
Yeah,
was.
Watching this match kind of reminded me of when Kurt Angle showed up in TNA and had his matches with Samoa Joe.
Mojo.
Like, they were just technical masterclasses. And you see it now with Daniel Bryan. Like, he puts on the similar technical masterclass matches. In the end, though, Kurt Angle rolled up Chris Benoit, Redacted, and won via pinfall. So, JB, what are you going to give it?
Yeah, man. Easy 4.5. 4.5 out of 5. brilliant technical. And it was a story of 2 matches as well. It started super technical.
Yeah.
It was just chain wrestling and takedowns and a lot of amateur wrestling stuff for ages. And then they were both just brilliant at it. And then Kurt Angle just clocks Benoit. And then it becomes a brawl, getting thrown through, stairs and ring posts and shit. Then they're back in the ring and it's just a proper brawl. And then they're just locking each other up with submission moves. And then eventually Kurt gets that roll-up pin. And, it felt like a cheap win. A cheap way to end such a great match. But I think that whole rivalry was a series, wasn't it? Wasn't there like 7 matches or some shit?
It was an Iron Man match between those two, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Like that rivalry went for ages. So just knowing that was sort of like the middle of the rivalry and not the end of it, I can sort of live with that as a finish. So 4.5. Great match. Very good match.
Shane?
I give that match a 5 out of 5. That is still one of the greatest technical matches of all time, like by quite a margin.
Yep.
Those two wrestlers, like Benoit from WCW, and then you had Kurt Angle, of course, in WWF. Both of those guys, the best at what they do in the ring, on the mat, for their respective brands, and seeing them together in a ring like that, doing that on WrestleMania was brilliant to watch. As Phil said, if you haven't seen that match, that's one of them I recommend. That's easily in my top 3 matches of all time.
Yeah. Shogo?
I give it 4.5. Nothing I say here will pretty much do it justice. As Phil said, you got to watch it for yourself to actually, appreciate it.
Yeah.
And it was just a thing of beauty to watch. It did, you sort of notice a few things here and there, like you sort of noticed Kurt Angle carrying just that little bit. I think him being the Olympic gold medalist that he is had something to do with that. But you sort of notice him picking up very little slack of what Chris Benoit. I'm not saying at all that Chris Benoit is sloppy by any means. It's just Kurt Angle is that much of a god at what he does that just watch it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think you could see in the technical mat part that Kurt was carrying that a little bit, but as soon as it started becoming the brawl, then they were sort of on equal footing. But
Yeah.
I don't think Chris Benoit's going to beat himself up.
You're picking up one and put him down.
Yeah, being carried by an amateur, freestyle Olympic gold medalist,
Well, he's not. He's also not gonna. He's also not gonna hold that against you because he's dead. But anyway.
Oh, of course not. But I mean, as we've all said, it's one of the best technical matches of all time. Like, go back and watch it for yourselves. Like, you if you're gonna go over it with a fine-tooth comb, you can see the parts where Kurt's helping him on the mat, sort of rolling him and getting his shoulders in the right spot. But aside from that, you're gonna see a brilliant. The two forms of wrestling, the professional wrestling side and the amateur wrestling side. And you'll see it both in full display.
Yeah. I gave this match a 4.5 as well. Just their timing was impeccable. The story the match told was perfect. There was nothing out of place in this match. Maybe the end felt a little bit sloppy, but that's only nitpicking. That's only just sitting there trying to find something to say bad about the match. And while I was watching that match, I was sitting there thinking, there was one dream match that I've always wanted to see, but we'll never get to see it because obviously both these guys are far beyond their prime and far too old and far too banged up. How good would it have been to have seen Kurt Angle in his prime, like in that time, in his prime, against Bret the Hitman Hart?
Absolutely.
Would have been phenomenal.
That would have surpassed that match.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because Bret in his prime, Kurt in his prime, just that they would have slayed everything. It would have been the match that people would talk. Bret Hart versus Shawn Michaels would be completely irrelevant.
Even go to something newer.
And you don't even need to build a fucking storyline for that. That's just USA versus Canada.
Yeah.
You don't even need to build. You got the Olympic gold medalist from America, and you've got the Canadian, like, fucking
God.
demigod.
Yeah, the Canadian
You
hero.
don't even need a storyline. That is the storyline. You don't even have to explain it. Don't even give them a microphone. Fuck it.
I mean, fuck, if you wanted to even go something newer, you could go fucking Brian and Angle, or Brian and Brett.
Yeah.
That'd also be like a technical brilliance of a match.
Or even Owen versus, like, Owen Hart versus Kurt Angle.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
Owen could go too. Like, yeah. It's just so many things that you wish you could have seen Kurt Angle do.
Yeah.
So the next match was for the Women's Championship between Ivory versus China. I don't think these two had very good chemistry. I thought it was pretty wonky and a bit all over the shop. But eventually China hit a huge power bomb and then picked her up and gave a press slam. And then China wins via pinfall. Seamus, we'll start with you. What do you think?
I'll give this a 2-star. Now, the only reason it gets 2 stars is, one, because China came out with a rocket launcher. Good entrance. And 2, it was good at what it was meant to be, and that's a squash match. It was meant to be China's come back from injury. Ivory was like an interim champion pretty much until China came back. That's pretty much how that worked. And at least add a little bit of a build there because, you know, Ivory was in a match with Ivory where she got injured in the first place. So I'll give it that. It was not horrible in the way of a build to it and what it was meant to be. So there's 2 stars.
Shogo?
I'll probably give it a 3. I agree with Shay in the sense that it's a squash match. It did its job. And it was a lot better than a lot of the matches that you see these days that are meant to be just that. Short, straight to the point. You get a little bit of, Ivory kicks out. Oh, no, wait. No, she didn't kick out. Trying to
Dragged her up.
China released it.
trying to release the her own pin.
Yeah.
Which I thought, it's going to drag on, but no, it didn't. She just did another big, like she did a power bomb to, essentially make a point and then just finish the match.
Yeah.
Short, sweet, bada bing, bada boom. I give it 3 stars.
JB?
Yeah, I give it 2. It was what it was. And that powerbomb was pretty fucking vicious. And the entrance with the rocket launch was pretty fucking cool. And that's it. China came back, revenge with her neck injury. Got her revenge, got the title back, and who's going to stop the monster heel fucking women's champion?
Triple H does because China gets released a couple of months later, I think.
And that's the only way she's getting beaten.
Yeah. Look, initially I was going to give this 1.5, but I bumped it up to a 2. I think the finish should have just been the power bomb. I don't think we needed the press slam. I think the press slam should have happened before the power bomb. That was sloppy and a bit all over the shop, but by today's standards, if you looked at that match and then looked at a Jade Cargill match, you would sit there and say that's a catcher's catch can classic compared to a Jade Cargill match. So I'm going to settle with a 2 out of 5. The next match, the owner of WWF, Vince McMahon, versus the newly crowned owner of WCW, Shane McMahon, in the Battle of the McMahons, with Linda McMahon as comatose, Stephanie McMahon at ringside with Daddy's Girl imprinted on her back. Oh, how things would change in a couple of months. And Trish Stratus wearing a long coat and probably not much underneath that. But, so my notes on this is that, look, Shane isn't bad in the ring, but Vince is not good. Like, his punches were just not hitting at all, and you could clearly see it. But the match got better once they went outside and started incorporating more hardcore stuff, weapons, things like that. Shane went for a top rope elbow from the top rope onto the commentary table, but Steph pulled Vince off the commentary table, so he ate nothing but commentary table. And then we ended up with about 5 minutes of stalling. Like Trish and Steph got into a brawl after Trish brought Linda down in a wheelchair and she slapped Vince.
But hey, titties.
And then eventually Shane rose from his slumber to get in the ring and get bashed in the head a couple of times with a garbage can until Linda miraculously came out of her comatose state and took Vince McMahon to Dick Kick City.
I mean, hey, if Trish and Steph were in the ring, I'd get a raise too.
I aroused from my chair.
I'd take many punches in Dick Kick City from Trish Stratus.
Yeah, but it was
But
Linda.
it was Linda McMahon, which is a completely different process.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Jokes
well,
on-
she was still in the same ring. I'm just happy to be involved.
Jokes on you, I'm into that shit.
Eventually, Shane hits the coast to coast on Vince, gets the pin and gets the win. God, there was a lot of padding in this match, though. Like, to cover up for these two not being the best in the ring.
It's fucking Vince McMahon in the ring. What do you expect?
Well,
Be thankful he didn't tear any quads this time.
yeah, it's true. Shogo, what are your thoughts?
I'd give it a 2.5. As stupid as this match was, I did find it quite entertaining. Shane, he should have had more training because he would have been a really good high flyer, I reckon. I mean, to a point, I guess he still is a really good high flyer. Him and Jeff Hardy are probably the only wrestlers that I know of that would pretty much jump off from anywhere, or maybe Mick Foley as well to a certain degree.
RVD.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
New Jack would jump off anything.
Yeah. You know what? You're missing my point here.
Yeah, I know.
All right. Next question.
All right. Shay, what do you think?
I give it a 2.5, only for the fact that Shane is still pretty entertaining. Well, he still is pretty entertaining whenever he's in the ring, jumping off shit even now. But the build up to it was actually pretty nice. It comes just off Shane being the owner of WCW, so it was actually a pretty good story going into it. And, Linda getting her comeuppance was also pretty good after all that shit that went on. Match it.
It's funny because in about 2 or 3 months' time, all this crap's going to be forgotten when Shane and Steph are the bad guys with the alliance.
Yeah.
And Vince and Linda are going to side together.
Yeah, and then the winner-take-all match.
Yeah. It's like how fast things change. And Shane really has the best match of his career later on in the year with Kurt Angle at
Yes,
King of the Ring.
King of the Ring, absolutely. That was a really good match between those two and actually showed you that Shane can go, even, sure, Angle carried a lot of it because it's a fucking professional, it's what he does. But it just shown that actually Shane can go with someone that's quite good.
JB?
I'm giving this 3.5. I thought it was violent. That was good. Shane winning with the coast to coast and, dismantling himself through a commentary table and then, Trish Stratus and her boobs. So, in closing, 3.5.
I gave it a 2.5. It
1
filled
point
its
for
need.
boobies.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right. I'm going to move on to the next match. The next match is for the WWF Tag Team Championship. It is TLC 2 between, as I'm fighting for air, the Dudley Boys, the Hardy Boys, and Edge and Christian. Much like the Benoit or Redacted versus Angle match, this is required viewing. This is absolutely...
This is top 5 WWE matches of all time.
Like this is
Like, if you're going to introduce someone to professional wrestling, or at least what professional wrestling was, this is mandatory viewing.
Yep. You either show them this match or show them highlights from this match.
The highlight package from this match is 8 minutes long.
They're still using highlight packages from this match today.
this match is the highlight package of this match.
Yeah, this
I don't-
entire match went for like 30 minutes, and the whole match is a highlight package.
Yeah, I mean, all three teams just stepped it up because the previous year they did the ladder match at WrestleMania 2000.
Yeah, the triangle ladder match.
Then TLC was at SummerSlam.
SummerSlam, yeah.
And then they really stepped it up with this one. Like, this is the match where after this, you can't do this again because there's no way you could honestly top this without killing yourself.
Yeah, this is the pinnacle.
There was insane spots all around. Pure chaos once Lita, Spike, and Rhino got involved, which I felt they actually added to the match.
Absolutely.
They added more drama to it.
Yep.
Jeff hits the swanton off the 20-foot ladder through Spike and Rhino, who are set up on tables.
And obliterates his tailbone.
Yeah. Then Jeff tries to do the ladder spot where he's running across the ladders to get to the title belt and botches it and ends up having to climb up a ladder and jump on. Which then leads to the spot of Jeff hanging by the title belt and cops a spear from Edge, which is still one of the most insane spots ever. And then Matt and Bubba Ray are fighting on a ladder that gets launched off by Rhino, and the pair of them fall through 4 tables outside, like on the entrance ramp.
You had, I think it was Christian and Devon, I think. And then Christian went all the way on the outside from one of the ladders.
Yeah, Christian missed the rope and landed from the top of the ladder to the outside. He missed the rope.
And then right at the end, Rhino put Christian on his shoulders and climbed up the ladder for Christian to grab the title belts and release them, making him and Edge the new WWF Tag Team Champions. JB, what do you think?
What do I think? I think it's probably the greatest TLC match of all time. Ever. It's not going to be topped.
So I take it to 5.
I'll give it a 6.
Just 6 out of
I'll
5.
give it a
Yeah.
6 out of 5. Like
The quota only goes up to 5.
Fuck your quota.
Fuck your quota, man.
It's not
This
my
is-
quota.
This is the best.
He's
tables-
pulling a Meltzer.
Yeah, if Meltzer can break his quota, we can break yours.
It's the best TLC match you'll ever see.
Meltzer's
It's-
not the be-all, end-all.
It's got everything you could ever want from all 4 of these dudes. You got Jeff Hardy jumping off 20-foot ladders. You know, you got swantons from 20-foot ladders. You've got people going through tables. You've got the diving spear off the belts into the ring.
Yeah, the spot where Edge and Christian threw a chair at, I think, one of the Dudley boys, and then Christian hits it with the other one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It was.
like
I'm pretty sure it was Bubba Ray.
Yeah, it's Bubba, yep.
there's nothing this match doesn't have, and you won't see a better match than that. You just won't. Like a ladder style match, you just will not see. You might see a more athletic one, but I don't think AEW or WWE could put on a match today, now, with anyone on their roster that could top that. Just for how hungry those boys were.
I think the closest we've come to a match like that, it was AEW actually. It was the Young Bucks versus Ray Fenix and Pentagon.
Yep.
Where it was inside a steel
Because
cage.
a Hell in a steel cage match.
And Matt Jackson cracked out the shoe with the spikes on it.
A thumbtack shoe.
Yeah. That match sort of matched this match's level of creativity.
The North American ladder match was pretty fucking good too, though. The one on NXT, I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure it was a takeover one. That was the one where EC3 was in WWE. That was really good.
Shay?
I'll give it a 6-star as well. That is my all-time favorite match. So two of my all-time favorite matches are on this pay-per-view. But yeah, that is still regarded as one of the best matches of all time, not just ladder matches. Entertaining from start to finish. You had, as well as the three main teams there, you also had Spike, Rhino, and Leader come in, as them all having
And
a
none of
trios.
them took away from the match. They all added to the match.
That's exactly right.
You look at any interference, even on this card, we talked about how the Dean Malenko and that interference took away from the match, and there was another interference that took away from the match. Linda and Trish, I know they were part of the storyline, but that was that was padding, and that took away from the match. But Lita coming in and Rhino coming in and Spike coming in added to this match.
And it's not
you
like
can't say that about many interferences.
it's not like it took up a shit ton of time. They had their spot and they got out of the road straight away.
Well,
Yeah.
they bumped the energy of the match up.
Yeah.
Like it was in fifth gear, and then it just went straight into sixth gear, and it couldn't go anything else. It was in Ultimate Warrior territory of just levels that could not be reproduced.
And all three of those people, all three of the interference guys, proper cracked, big spots too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Spike went through the table. I think, did Lita get 3D'd?
Lita got 3D in the
Lita
middle of
got
the ring.
3D'd. Spike got sent to the shadow realm through the table.
Lita fucking cracked
And
Spike
I'm
in the head with a
pretty
chair.
sure Rhino took a chair shot or two,
Lita also took her shirt off.
Yes, she did.
and
adding to the match.
yeah,
But the other thing about this too is you had the three different teams specializing in three different things. You had Edge and Christian with the chairs, the Dudleys with the tables, and of course the Hardys with the ladder.
TLC matches would not have happened without those three teams.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They made them what they are.
Yep.
And you just can't top what they did.
Well, think about the year before those three teams did a ladder match. 6 months before that, it was the Hardys and Edge and Christian did
The
the
Brood.
ladder match at No Mercy. Think about it. Before that match, the pinnacle of the ladder match was Shawn and Razor Ramon
Yeah,
at Mania 10.
yeah.
Which is the first one.
Those teams reinvented the wheel when it comes to the ladder match.
Yeah, they really did.
And they raised the stakes so much compared to what Shawn and Razor had done twice. And you had teams over in WCW, I think it was 3 count, and the Young Dragons were trying to replicate it, and it just... It didn't have the same... It felt like it was trying to rip off what they had done. So...
Yeah.
Shogo.
I will give it the maximum rating I can, which is a 5 out of 5. If I
Sure,
could,
you can give it a 6 if you want.
if I could, I'd give it more.
Can I get that in Japanese?
What, the 5 out of 5 part or the
5 out of 5.
5点
You've put him on the spot, dude.
Yeah, a little bit. Considering I just, came to Kai after 5 hours on the road driving. My brain's turned to mush.
So, Shogo, you want to give it a 6 out of 5? 'Cause
Uh,
I'm agreeing with these two. I'm going to give it a 6 out of 5.
yeah, screw it. You know what?
Yep. We've just
Major-
melted it.
Majority rules, I'm giving it a 6. Look,
Peer pressure.
everything that I want to say, we've all pretty much made our point.
Yeah.
You will never see another match like this.
This is what history looks like.
Yes.
This is what anyone who talks about a ladder match from now on cannot talk about a ladder match without
This is
this match being
Textbook.
part of. Like that edge spear. That edge spear off the ladder has been viewed a bajillion times.
where he spears Jeff Hardy
It's
off.
every Extreme Rules package. It's every Wrestlemania
It's every
package.
edge package.
It's every Edge package. It's every ladder match package.
Yeah.
Even for Money in the Bank, they use it because it's a ladder match.
And to think that spot nearly didn't happen because Jeff had his foot stuck in that ladder until he wriggled it loose.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, not only that, the only thing that would have made this even more perfect would have been when Jeff stepped on 3 consecutive ladders, and then
That was the only botch in the whole match.
Yeah.
Well,
And
that we know of.
and that's fucking hard to do, man. Like,
Hey, tops to him. Like
it's good in theory, and that's it. If you wanted this match to be the perfect match, Jeff doesn't botch that spot, but you know what? Even Donald Bradman got a run average of 99.94, mate, so no one's perfect.
Yeah, because his last game he was out for a duck.
He was. He was emotional.
Right, so the next match, because I said that I'm doing a 6 out of 5, I've made my point. Everyone else has said their point. The next match was the Gimmick Battle Royale. This
Do we
includes...
have to? Is this even a match? Do we have to?
We do.
Okay.
Includes the Bushwhackers, Duke the Dumpster Drozy, the Iron Sheik,
Eh, baba.
Earthquake, the Goon, Doink the Clown, Kamala, the Repo Man, Jim Cornette. Shogo here popped huge when Jim Cornette came out.
Something about an old white guy, going off his rock at, the kids these days, that sort of shit. Hey, it's good in my books. I'm a Cornette fan.
Or specifically the Archbishop of Burial.
So is the white Shogo, is what you're saying?
Yeah, the Archbishop of Burial, that's Vince Russo.
So you call him the White Devil?
Thank you, fuck you, bye.
Nikolai Volkov, Michael P.S. Hayes, One Man Gang, the Gobbledygooker, Tugboat. That's something though. Like, he came out as Tugboat. They should have sent him out as the Shockmaster. Because he was the Shockmaster.
I think it's Uncle Fred.
I think that was Uncle Fred. It started to rumble with the laughter. And he flopped that helmet down, and I said, I couldn't even look at him. Hillbilly Jim, Brother Love, and finally Sergeant Slaughter. It was great for the nostalgia pops as they were coming out, but really this match was crap. Iron Sheik eliminates Hillbilly Jim.
And the commentary.
Oh, and Mean Gene Oakland and Bobby the Brain Heenan were on commentary. It was nice to hear them. Particularly Bobby the Brain Heenan. He was always interesting on commentary. I gave it 0.5 out of 5. It was just, it was pretty poor, wheeling out a whole bunch of old people and saying, here you go, have a battle royale, and half of them could barely move in the ring to begin with.
Looking at you, Iron Sheik.
Yeah. JB.
I can only assume this match was for pacing. Just to bring the crowd back down, I think. They just witnessed the greatest match in WrestleMania history. One of.
This was the toilet break match.
Yeah, well, you just going through the roof with the TLC ladder match, and now you got the 10 minutes. This is like the interval music.
Yeah.
Like, go have a pee for a while. Because that's all it really was. It was. I was wondering why it was so late in the card, but it sandwiched the ladder match, and I think the match after this was Taker and Triple H, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so this really was the interval match. So for what it was, I mean, yeah, 0.5. Not for anything, not for anything bad. Just, honestly, that was the interval to so the crowd didn't burn themselves out before Rock Austin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shay?
Yeah, I give it a half a star as well. It was really just the pop for the intros, and that was about it.
Yeah.
It was nice to see him, especially the commentary team, but that's it.
Shogo?
1.5, simply for the entertainment value. Yeah, I kind of like the fact that Sheik won, despite the fact that if you look back and keep your eye on him, he doesn't do anything throughout the match.
Got to save your energy, man. That's how you win Royal Rumbles.
Fuck the energy. Fuck the energy.
Fucking bullshit.
Yeah, I know.
Fuck the Hulk Hogan.
No, but all in all, as lousy as it was, I found it rather entertaining, and small part of me died when Jim Cornette went over the ropes. But hey, it is what it is.
It was filler, mate. It was nothing more than filler.
1.5 stars.
We need to fill 15 minutes between that chaos and the next amount of chaos.
Well, I actually think there was supposed to be some kind of a match with the WCW talent, but Sean Stasiak apparently let slip to the wrong person that WCW guys were having a match at WrestleMania, and it got leaked onto the dirt sheets, and Vince found out and said, well, you can go and sit in the skybox because you're not getting a fucking match at WrestleMania now.
That's probably what it replaced.
So, yeah. So it teaches you to shut the fuck up. Right, the next match is The Undertaker versus Triple H. The first time that they wrestled at WrestleMania, because they've had 3 matches at WrestleMania, but when they had their next match at WrestleMania, they kind of ignored the fact that they've already had a match at WrestleMania and kept acting like they'd never wrestled at WrestleMania before. Go figure. I thought these two had amazing chemistry. They really work well together in the ring. It's also really great seeing these two in their prime having a match.
Mm-hmm.
Holy Christ, did the ref take a beating in this match. He was just getting his ass handed to him. They eventually brawled through the crowd, and Triple H landed a whole bunch of solid chair shots on Taker. Eventually, they brawled their way back into the ring. And eventually, Triple H went for a tombstone on Taker, who reversed it and did his own tombstone. And the crowd popped for that because it was his American Badass persona doing his old persona's finisher. But Triple H kicked out of that. Taker went to do the last ride on Triple H, but he picked up his sledgehammer on the way up and dunked him on the head. Eventually, Triple H gets Taker in the corner, starts wailing on him, trying to open his cut up a bit more. Taker grabs him, drags him out of the corner, and turns it into a last ride. Taker wins via pinfall. Shay, what do you reckon?
Give this a 4 stars. Pretty entertaining. The build for this match was actually pretty good too. The Triple H just being a ruthless motherfucker like he usually is, and Taker being a badass.
Yeah.
Both of these guys were pretty popular at the time. Second to, of course, Rock and Austin. Seeing Lemmy and Motorhead sing, we know, the issues behind that entrance, but it still sounded good considering. But yeah, other than that, it was a nice physical match. Pretty much what you expect from these two. And them going to the outside was pretty cool, except, the ref being knocked out for 25 minutes plus is a bit unrealistic.
The ref was corpsing. All right, Shogo.
I'd like to give this match 4 out of 5. It was classic. It was classic Triple H versus a really good Taker. I won't say classic Taker because that was a lot earlier on. It was, a 4-star match in my books, and I think the fact that Triple H coming out to Motorhead live, but Taker not coming out to Limp Bizkit live just sort of made it feel a bit awkward. But yeah, that was about it, really.
JB?
Yeah, 4 out of 5. Solid match. I mean, 2 guys doing it, old school, I guess. Just rough, stiff, physical, weapons, sledgehammer, choke slams off the camera stand, through the crowd. It was everything you could have wanted from these two. Just proper good build-up to, Taker wanting revenge for Triple H screwing him around a bit, and Triple H getting his comeuppance despite using the sledgehammer a few times. Yeah, just vintage Taker performance, and Triple H was a very, very worthy opponent. Just a real good, solid match.
I gave it 4 out of 5 as well. I thought it woke the crowd up after the gimmick battle royal. It woke the crowd up, but it didn't it didn't run at such a pace that it burned the crowd back out.
Yeah.
You know, it kept the crowd not hot, but simmering for the next match, which was the main event. So it sort of, it helped the main event by building on the layers of getting the crowd up and running again.
Yeah.
Which, that's what the semi-main event is supposed to do, is build that awareness for the main event. So it did its job, and it did it well. So we get to the final match on the card. It is for the WWF Championship between the champion, The Rock, and the winner of the 2001 Royal Rumble, Stone Cold Steve Austin. Now, these two guys have always had great chemistry, but by the time we got to this match, like, they were impeccable with their chemistry. And you could easily see why these two guys were the top two guys in the company at the time, and probably the top two guys in professional wrestling at that time. It had a really fast pace where I think even the referee told The Rock at one point to, like, slow it down, because this match had to go for about half an hour, which I think that kind of hurts it. I think the match maybe have gone for too long. But The Rock got busted open, and then Austin got busted open because you could see Austin blading in the background. Eventually, Rock locks in the sharpshooter. He could never do the sharpshooter right. It always looked silly whenever he did it. But eventually then Austin turned it around and he locked in the sharpshooter. Then Austin locked in the $1 Million Dream, which he hadn't used for a few years. Then eventually Rock hits a Stone Cold Stunner on Steve Austin. Rock hits the People's Elbow, but by this point Vince McMahon had come out to ringside. And he pulled the referee away so that he couldn't complete the count. Then Austin hits Rock with a rock bottom. And then Vince and Austin start working together and bashing Rock with a steel chair. Rock hits a rock bottom, but Vince, again, distracts the referee. Austin hits the stunner, but Rock kicks out. Austin hits Rock with a chair, and he kicks out. And then Austin starts flogging the holy bejesus out of the Rock with the chair, then goes for the pin, gets the 1-2-3, as the new WWF champion. Shogo, what do you reckon, Murray?
I would like to give this one 4.5. I would have rated it higher had it not been for a certain few hiccups, shall we say. So, my first issue with that is probably the fact that it's a no DQ match, yet, despite the fact that Rock putting on a sharpshooter on Austin and vice versa, they both got rope breaks. If it's a no DQ match, why not just hold on to the goddamn submission? So that part to me made no sense aside from, you know, putting the progressing through the story.
Which the weirdest thing was, Austin did hold on to the sharpshooter when he had it on the Rock.
Yeah,
and
but
then released it.
he let go. That's the thing. Just hold on to the damn thing.
Yeah.
It's a no DQ match. What's the ref going to do?
I like that. I think it shows respect. I think it shows deep down that they both had respect for each other.
Until, you know, Austin just beat the fuck out of the Rock.
Until the end, obviously.
Well, I take that back there, because he actually did put a beer beside him at the end of the match.
Did.
But yeah, the other thing is, they're in Texas. Why did they portray Stone Cold like that? Why have him side with McMahon?
Because they were turning him heel, and he was going to stay heel for the Alliance shit.
Yeah, but do it after the goddamn home
Yeah.
match. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's it.
JB?
Yeah, exactly the same as Shogo. I would have loved to give this match 5 out of 5, but I can't. It's 4 out of 5 because I wish, the same way that Stone Cold himself wishes, that this match ended differently. That Stone Cold won this match, A, clean, and B, as a face. But, you know, it can't take away from what an absolutely fantastic match it was. what an absolutely fantastic rivalry it was. WrestleMania 17 and that match in particular was the peak of professional wrestling for that era. Probably ever. I don't think you can go back to the 80s with Hogan and whatever, man, but I don't think professional wrestling was any bigger at any stage than it was when The Rock and Stone Cold faced off for the championship at WrestleMania 17. I don't think, in terms of star power, in terms of popularity, in terms of anything, I think that was the pinnacle of professional wrestling. That match on that night. I think that was the pinnacle of professional wrestling, and I don't think we've hit the heights since, and I don't think we ever will. But that said, the only way that ends perfectly is, you know, if Stone Cold calls that audible like he wanted to call in the ring, and he drops the stunner on McMahon, and he wins it clean as a face. But, you know, as we said before, even Donald Bradman finished on 99.94 runs.
Shane?
I give this a 4 as well. Only reason it doesn't get a 5 is for the rope breaks, as Shogo said. That definitely was something that kind of irked me, being a no DQ match. And as everybody has said before, the finish definitely, in my opinion, shouldn't have been a heel finish for Austin, being in his hometown. Should have been a face finish, and then they can turn him heel later on, like Raw.
Well, I gave the match a 4 as well. My issues with the match are slightly different. I do understand, though, like, it is a no DQ match, and they shouldn't have be doing rope breaks. Kind of reminds me of that Hell in a Cell match between Seth Rollins and The Fiend that ended in a DQ. It's a Hell in a Cell match. Why is it finishing in a DQ? But my issues with this match was, I think Vince came out way too early.
Yeah.
Like, he should have come out and it been the end when he came out and got involved and cost Rock the match. Not him coming out, costing Ross the match.
He should have come out as The Rock was about to hit the people's elbow, maybe. Or just after he's hit the people's elbow. Yeah.
I think when Austin hit the stunner towards the end, and that's when Vince should have come out, and everyone thinking, oh, he's going to help The Rock. And then he gives Austin a chair, and Austin starts wailing away on Rock, gets pinfall in the win. I also think the match might have gone for a touch too long. Like, I think they could have shaved 5 minutes off that match. But that's being finicky. I think the second part happens because the first part happens. I.e., the match feels like it goes for too long because Vince is out there for too long.
Yeah.
If that makes any sort of sense.
No, it definitely does. Fitch was out there for a lot longer than you realise.
Yeah.
He was out there for probably a quarter of that match, almost half of it.
Give the guy a break. He's 73 years old and he's probably torn both his quads.
No, it's not. It's not.
I'm joking.
It's not how long he took to get to the fucking ring. It's that he was out there too early.
Yeah, never mind.
Yeah, we know. Shakes. But, yeah, like, I just felt like if Vince had been out there for a lot less, the impact would have meant more. You know, but, and also I don't think turning Austin heel really helped. I mean, you know, the invasion angle happened, but I think with the invasion angle, they needed Austin to be the heel and be the leader of it because they didn't get any of the real major WCW stars. I mean, yeah, they got Booker T and DDP, but they didn't get Sting, the NWO. They didn't get Goldberg. They didn't get Scott Steiner. So they were a little bit sort of handicapped in what they could do. But when they got to this point, they didn't know really. They had no idea what they wanted to do with WCW, which those ideas fell through and they had to do the invasion angle.
Yeah.
But I still don't think that turning Austin heel was the greatest thing ever.
Well, neither does he.
Yeah.
So.
particularly when you hear the crowd. The crowd was booing Rock more than they were booing Austin, so it's just, yeah. I think Austin should have stuck with his instincts and called an audible in the ring. Right, so that was WrestleMania X7. So we're going to start with Shogs, seeing it's your party and you'll cry if you want to. How many cheese graters out of 5 are you going to give this one?
Oh, Christ, are we still using the cheese grater thing?
Absolutely.
Forever and always, mate.
You started it.
Actually, technically, Bubba Ray did.
Well, technically.
Well, technically, how many cheese graters are you going to give it out of 5?
I would, honestly, I'd probably give it 4.5 cheese graters out of 5. It's one of those classic ones that... It's a timeless classic, basically, and I will always go back and watch it. Maybe I'll skip a few matches, like the Battle Royale, for example.
Vince and Shane.
Yeah, that too, and Regal versus Jericho. But look, you cannot deny the classic matches in that were classic for a reason, and you'll just go back to it and probably watch it in about a month's time, let's just say, and still enjoy it as much as the first time you saw it. You'll probably know, oh, this is what happens then, and the mystique of it will probably be gone, but it's good for a reason.
You'll never get sick of watching Jeff Hardy jump off a 20-foot ladder, mate.
I will never get sick of watching Jeff Hardy jump off.
You'll never get sick of the pop that Stone Cold gets when he first walks out. You'll never get sick of...
And I will never get sick of staring at Trish Stratus's boobs.
Yeah. Amen.
Ah, man, Brad, I hate you.
Shane?
I'll give this one 5. I was tempted to give it a 4.5, but no, I'll give it a 5, just because, as Shogo said, it is a timeless classic of a pay-per-view. Anytime I want to show anyone that hasn't watched wrestling before wrestling, I will always go to WrestleMania 17 and always go to that ladder match to show people how entertaining it can be. I go to them, it's not just, suplexes and stuff. You can actually see them go through tables and shit like that, and it's really entertaining to watch. This is the epitome of a good example of something that can go for 4 hours, but can entertain you for majority of that 4 hours. It's 11 o'clock now, and it doesn't feel like we've been sitting here for, 4 hours, 5 hours now. It's actually been really entertaining and just fun to go back, even though we know the results of these matches, to still watch it. And I even picked up on a few things I didn't realize had happened, not looking at the actual match, but looking at the other stuff that's happening. Like even some of the signs that the bloody people there were using, you don't see that anymore. You don't see that many signs or that many people with the signs in the background, and they're just random ones. They're not ones that they've just placed people and he said, "Here, have a sign," and then they put the sign up, which is what happens most of the time. And definitely, it is my favorite pay-per-view of all time, and I definitely recommend, if people have not watched it, to definitely go and watch it.
JB?
Yeah, same. 4.5 out of 5. It's the best WrestleMania ever. It's probably the best pay-per-view ever. One of. There's 4 surefire matches you can watch at any time of day and not ever get sick of watching them. You can watch that Angle Benoit match whenever. You can watch that ladder match whenever. Taker, Triple H, and then you can watch Rock Austin just to get a feel of what wrestling was like in its peak, at its finest, at its biggest point, with its 2 biggest stars. You pop it in the DVD player whenever, and you'll never get sick of watching WrestleMania 17.
The fuck's a DVD?
It's the thing that's sitting underneath my Blu-ray player.
Yeah, I've got it on DVD, so fuck you. I'm sure someone here's got it on VHS as well.
Just have it in digital media played anywhere.
I think I do actually have my
sign up for your binge account and stop bitching.
I think I still do have my VHS tape that I copied off Foxtel or
Yeah.
Ozstar.
I've still got my VHS of that did the same thing.
But I gave the pay-per-view a 4.5 as well. It's not actually my favourite WrestleMania. That one belongs to WrestleMania 14 and WrestleMania 20 for me. But it's up there in terms of pay-per-views with like Forbidden Door And God, I'm blanking on other ones. Like I think Bound for Glory 2006 was a great pay-per-view.
Royal Rumbles.
Yeah, Royal Rumbles. Even
Money in the fucking...
Money in the fucking Money in the Bank.
Money in the Bank, the one that was in the WWE headquarters.
Yeah, that was great too. Yeah, there's so many great pay-per-views, and this is certainly one of them. And when it comes to like iconic matches, you got TLC, you've got Angle and Benoit, you got Rock Austin, you've got Taker and Triple H. And like, if there's ever matches you want to show someone, like Angle and Benoit, TLC, they sit there alongside the Hell in a Cell match between Foley and Taker. Yeah, or your Samoa Joes versus Kurt Angles.
Mm.
Yeah, your classic matches that surprise you. Or your Shawn Michaels versus Taker at WrestleMania 25.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're just got classic matches on here. Or you know, Taker and Kane at both Mania 20 and 14, where it's such a spectacle.
Jeff Hardy versus Sting at Forbidden.
14. Taker Kane at 14 was way better than Taker Kane at 20.
Oh, absolutely. But both matches told a really great story. Both matches had really great entrances too.
Oh,
so.
yeah. Oh, yeah. The WrestleMania 21's got brilliant entrance. Return of Deadman Taker was awesome.
Yeah. So, and I think Kurt Angle versus Eddie Guerrero from Mania 20 was like an absolute standout match as well.
Yep.
But, and you had Redacted versus Triple H versus Shawn Michaels for the World Heavyweight title. And that for me is how you do a triple threat match.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was a great triple threat match. But, yeah, this pay-per-view is certainly one of the best WrestleManias that's ever been. And now that Triple H has taken over, I'm actually looking forward to what WrestleMania will be next year.
Absolutely.
Because I think he'll try and get it pushing back into this kind of direction.
Or before that, Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's going to be exciting.
Sure will. So, on behalf of Shogo, Shay, and JB, thank you for tuning in to this special episode of the Stop the Damn Match. Nearly said the F1 chat there. So used to saying that. To Stop the Damn Match. We will be back in a couple of days with Extreme Rules. But until then, thank you. And it is goodbye.